Huzzah and good day, my wonderful students. Today we begin our short review of political revolutions. The revolution in the Enlightenment. Divine right stated the power to rule came from God and was unlimited. The Enlightenment stated the power to rule came from the people and that government's rule was limited. Enlightenment ideas fueled the American, French, and Latin American revolutions. So this idea in the age of the Enlightenment, the concepts of the Enlightenment went completely against absolutism and divine right. The French Revolution. French society was divided into three groups called estates. The third estate, the commoners, paid most of the taxes and had the least money and land per person of the three estates. The second estate was the nobility. It made up 2% of the people and owned 25% of the land, while the first estate, the clergy, members of the church, was only 1% of the population and owned 10% of the land. This situation, along with economic problems, led to the French Revolution. Specifically speaking, the French Revolution began when France went into a large amount of debt, partly as a result of helping the United States in its American Revolution, and partly because of French disasters abroad. And when that happened, King Louis XVI tried to fix his problems by putting taxes on the nobles, but the nobles resisted. So Louis called the Estates General a meeting of the three estates together. And with the ideas of the Enlightenment fresh in people's minds, because it had been happening, and the American Revolution having only happened a few years earlier, the people of the Third Estate demanded more rights. And in the course of this revolution, Louis was overthrown. And we begin with the Reign of Terror. 5 countries declared war on France in an attempt to put a king back into power. Now, Maximilien Robespierre, leader of the Reign of Terror, leader of the government at this time, the Committee of Public Safety, had tens of thousands of people executed as counter-revolutionaries, basically traitors to the revolution. Now, after the Reign of Terror finished, there was a time under the rule of the Directory, but the Directory was a corrupt form of government, and eventually they were overthrown by Napoleon. Napoleon had been a popular war hero during the French Revolution. He had helped to defeat armies that were invading France. He ended up becoming Emperor of France. And he conquered much of Europe and spread the ideas of the French Revolution and nationalism through a process called cultural diffusion, baby. His invasion of Russia, however, failed, partly due to their scorched earth policy, where they kept retreating and setting the fields on fire, and partially because of the sheer size of Russia, and the cold winter climate. Eventually, he was exiled to the island of St. Helena, where he died. Now, after Napoleon's defeat, the governments of Europe tried to restore the old royal families, the old regimes, to power, and Louis XVIII was made king of France. In Latin America, during Napoleon's empire, Spain lost control of its colonies. Simon Bolivar, also known as the Great Liberator, led many revolutions in South America to free the colonies from Spanish control. He was inspired by the ideas of the Enlightenment and the American and French revolutions. He wanted a democratic rule for the people with rights. And that is the revolutions